It's just about 51 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock. I am Kimberly De Souza in your company, and this is your Spotlight on Now. Now, with the CSME Bill, as we usually call it, it has been passed in the Senate and is actually going to the House of Representatives for debate. And so we're going to be talking about the CSME Bill and the implications that can have for us locally. So in studio with me right now, I have Dr. Amery Browne, of course, who is the Minister of Foreign and Caricom Affairs. And we're going to delve into this topic a little bit more deeply. Dr. Browne, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Good morning, my dear. Thank you. It's nice to be here, and good morning to all your viewers as well.
I see we got you up a little bit early this morning.
That's good. You know what they say, the early bird catches the worm.
Of course.
And there's so much work to be done here in Trinidad and Tobago and in our region. So I'm happy to discuss these matters with you today.
Nice. I'm happy to hear that, Dr. Browne. Now, of course, the Caribbean Communications Skills National Amendment Bill 2022 was, we say, the CSME Bill. I think one of the things that a lot of people were concerned about is that it extends the category of skilled workers who can, come to Trinidad. Can we just talk about that? How has the category been extended? What are the skilled workers that can now be included if this bill is passed?
Okay, so this bill comes out of our commitment to the Caribbean community, Caricom. You'd recall that the Treaty of Chaguaramas was signed here in Trinidad and Tobago in 1973. That's a long time ago. The treaty was revised in the year 2001, where this single market and economy was placed into the treaty. So this really took Caricom to the next level. Member states are obliged, those who have signed and ratified the treaty, to fulfill its requirements. One of those really is to put in place a system for the legal and orderly migration, free movement within the region of certain categories of individuals. The ultimate goalpost at some point in the future will be complete free movement, as exists in some other regions of the world. It's being done on a phased basis in the Caribbean community. Up to this point, Trinidad and Tobago has recognized just 5 categories of skilled individuals who are able to move freely into and out of Trinidad and Tobago. These are the categories under which we certify skills certificates. We've now taken the step with this amendment bill to expand those categories to 10 as opposed to 5. We join a long list of other member states who've done this years ago, and none of whom have seen any of the red flags or the jumbies, as you say, that were raised in part of the debate. The good news is that the bill was easily passed through the Senate with the vast majority of senators, including the overwhelming majority of independent senators, deeming it worthy of support. And they voted. The bill, as you said, is now being scheduled to be debated in the lower house of Parliament. It requires a simple majority. And this will be a very important step for Trinidad and Tobago fulfilling its responsibilities, joining our neighbors in ensuring that in 10 categories, defined categories of skilled persons, nationals or nationals are now empowered to receive skill certificates here and go out into the region in a stronger way. It also allows for skilled nationals from elsewhere within the region to come to Trinidad and Tobago, part of building a regional economy. If you speak to business interests, you speak to the chambers of commerce, the TTMA, those who are driving our manufacturing sector, they are enthused about these measures because the future for us is in Caricom, and we hold a key part of the solution. Trinidad and Tobago must play its part, and I'm very pleased that we are playing our part in that regard. No. We will benefit as well as the region.
Of course. Now, Dr. Browne, you said that 5 were already existing. Do you know the additional 5 that we are seeking to include?
Yes. So we're adding artisans, we're adding musicians, we're adding a range of, eventually, the security guards, agricultural workers, already university graduates are allowed to move freely. But the thinking is this should not just be limited to those who may have graduated from a higher education. There are other categories for whom the region would benefit, and that is the incremental step that has now been taken.
Now, Dr. Browne, in terms of this free movement, will they be able to move with their spouses as well?
Absolutely. Again, the family is the basic building block of human civilization, and part of this vision is to ensure that families with your spouse and dependents are able to move within the region, and Trinidad and Tobago is very much a part of this process. Let me tell you, many of our nationals have already been benefiting. More will now be able to benefit, and we have trainees working all over this region. In Guyana, in Jamaica, we have trainees running hotels in Barbados and other places. We're proud of that. We have so many skills, and we need to be able to market those skills and offer them to the entire region, and that is happening.
Now, Dr. Browne, I know in the bill I think there's a 5-year residency, and because of that, there's a concern that there might be voter padding, that the government might be wanting to bring these workers in. So, of course, as they look towards election, it may sway in the direction of the government. What is this talk about voter padding?
Well, this is a typical red herring that comes up anytime there's a debate that somehow can connect to movement of persons. We've seen no evidence of this in all the other member states that have put such measures into place. This treaty, the revised treaty, goes back to 2001. So I don't know if somebody thinks there was a diabolical strategy to plot for voter padding. Again, in the debate, there emerged no evidence whatsoever to support those types of claims. And it really is an absurd proposition. So it didn't delay passage through the Senate. I assure you it will not delay passage through the lower house, and it will not deter Trinidad and Tobago from fulfilling its commitments in this regard.
Now, Dr. Browne, as we are on the topic of Caricom, let's just shift gears a little bit. Let's look to Guyana, right? We had the Vice President making some comments that, Trinidad is falling apart, but we have also tried to maintain a strong relationship with Guyana as we look towards trade and that sort of thing. I wanted to get your opinions on his comments and if you think it would help or hurt our relationship with Guyana.
The relationship that Trinidad and Tobago shares with Guyana is a strong one. It continues to be very strong. But it's not just limited to Guyana. We recognize, we are certainly leaders and part of the vision for the Caribbean community, where we recognize that individually we are vulnerable. Even as our individual fortunes may rise and fall over the years, we are very small island states and low-lying communities, and we need each other. So Trinidad and Tobago is not a hesitant or reluctant member of this community. We are a strong and leading member, and that means maintaining and building relations with all our neighbors. And we take that responsibility very seriously. As Minister of Foreign and Caricom Affairs, I take that very seriously. So when I was in Belize for the recent intersessional heads of government meeting, I spent a lot of time with the Guyanese delegation, including with President Irfan Ali, with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Hugh Todd, and it's a relationship that we are working on and we're dedicated to, just as with Jamaica, Barbados, and all other member states. So we took the comments made by Vice President Jagdeo with some degree of concern, because those comments stepped outside of the tradition, the long-standing tradition, where we maintain strong public support and respect for fellow member states. And those comments appear to approach that line or cross that line. But I think if you listen to the discourse moving forward, that thread certainly has not been carried by the broader government of Guyana. And we recently had a TTMA trade mission, a strong one that went to Georgetown, was very well received. I remained in contact with our individuals on a daily basis. Their experience was a very positive one, and therefore there are clear signs. There's good evidence that the relationship remains very positive,
right.
and our movement or trade links and the really important elements that connect these two countries remains vibrant and productive, and we will do everything to keep it like that.
I think that's good to hear. I think that's really good news. Dr. Browne, there was a Canada Caricom meeting, I believe it was last week Friday. Can you just tell us some of the topics coming out of that meeting?
Well, as a community, we are building stronger links with a number of international partners. One of them is the government of Canada. So we are preparing for a summit between Caricom heads of government and the Canadian Prime Minister. This was touched on. We met with him briefly in Scotland at the COP26. He emphasized that he wanted to make the summit happen. This meeting occurred between the foreign ministers of Caricom member states, of which I am a member, and the new Minister of Foreign Affairs of Canada, Her Excellency Melanie Joly. It was a very productive meeting. We examined a wide range of topics, really looking at the future of the relationship, looking to put a permanent mechanism in place to allow for political dialogue, to explore investments, expanded trade, other elements. We did have some conversation about the invasion of Ukraine, yes, and some of the other global sequelae, including the impacts on energy, on wheat, and other consequences, right, of what's happening in the world. So it was a very productive engagement, and this engagement certainly is part of Trinidad and Tobago's contribution to the region and our own strengthening of bilateral relationships with partners around the world. And that work is ongoing, and it's a mission that I'm very passionate about.
Dr. Browne, we have a few more minutes, but I really want to pick your brain on this. There was a video of a container load of our locally manufactured cassava and sweet potato pastas being shipped to the U.S. Yes. I know people have been talking a lot about diversifying the economy as we look towards, building revenue from the non-energy sector. What do you thought about that? Is this an indication that we're looking towards something like that?
Our exports are up, they're rising, and it's very exciting for us. So while there are some within our landscape who would tend to harp on the negative and lament and focus on the challenges which we still face, there's very good news within Trinidad and Tobago. Certainly in terms of our strength in manufacturing, that has not declined. In fact, that is expanding. The government has done a lot of work, including in the last budget, to facilitate business, new business, to facilitate exports in particular. And guess what? Our private sector, our small, medium, and large enterprises are responding to that call. And we've seen evidence where now new entrepreneurs are proudly exporting local products, earning foreign exchange, improving our employment situation, and helping to brand Trinidad and Tobago elsewhere, in North America, in Latin America, within Caricom, in Europe, and elsewhere. So we're vibrant, we're alive, we're very positive, and we see great hope in the energy of our people.
Dr. Browne, I think we have 1 minute left, but there was also a recent meeting with the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Caribbean Affairs and Haiti, Ms. Barbara Feinstein, on strengthening collaboration between U.S. and TTT. What are some of the discussions that came out of that?
Well, that was a very wide-ranging discussion. We're very pleased when we have such high-level visitors from the White House, from the State Department to Port-au-Spain. So she was well hosted, and there was a strong engagement on a range of issues, including human trafficking, narco-trafficking. The security sector is very much an area where we see room for improved and increased collaboration and partnership with the government of the United States of America. Cybersecurity also arose as an area of potential. And then there was discussion on a range of other issues focused on the bilateral relations between our countries. Again, further evidence of Trinidad and Tobago, reaching out to our key international partners. The U.S. is our largest trading partner, and there's great potential, even in the area of energy, for some strategic steps. Trinidad and Tobago is doing its groundwork. It's ensuring that the future of our country and our people will be well secured.
Nice. Dr. Browne, I can keep you here whole day, but I know you have work to do and I also have work to do as well. But Dr. Browne, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure hosting you here on the Now Morning Show, and hopefully we'll have you back soon.
Thank you. Look forward to my return, and have a wonderful day.
Same to you. And that was the Minister of Foreign and Caricom Affairs, Dr. Amery Browne, just keeping us updated about what the government has been working on, and of course that very, very controversial CSME bill, as we usually refer to it, the implications that can have for us here. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Stay with us.